Alright, gang, we got a mystery to watch. What happened to the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers? I mean, whatever happened, they're all dead by now. And this is filmed during the COVID times.
Nobody cared who I was till I put on the mask. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we shine a light on the mysterious disappearance of 3 lighthouse keepers from the isolated Flannan Isles.
Shine a light.
That's right. It's a pun.
Off to a great start.
That's right, a punny start.
Yeah, I'm excited.
They really upgraded our office this season.
We really knocked down that wall. I didn't realize how beautiful it was behind
Well,
that.
open concept is in now,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it would be nice to have us out here. What do you think about lighthouses?
Well, we know I love them. I want to live in one and I want to die in one.
Do you think you could ever be a lighthouse keeper?
100%.
What if I told you were going to disappear?
Sounds good. After this year? Ay.
Huh?
Just a little 2020 humor.
In 2025 humor.
Ooh. I didn't realize how much I could slap my thighs out here without the desk in front of us.
Should we get into it?
Please. Oh.
The Flannan Isles, also known as the Seven Hunters, is a group of uninhabited rocky islands off the western coast of Scotland. The mysterious islands allegedly had a profound effect on sheep, and shepherds would sail their flocks to the islands to graze. Sheep who dined on the grasses of the Flannan Isles were said to give birth to twins or recover from illness.
Huh.
Despite its positive
Oh, so that's why that sheep was in Band-Aids.
effect on sheep,
I thought it was a
legend
mummy.
of a spirit haunting the islands kept any shepherd from staying overnight.
That can't be real. Sheep magic? What are you talking about? Huh?
Well, apparently it
Sheep
was not so much the
gods.
sheep that were
Gods for the
magical, it was
sheep.
the grass.
Magic grass for
It made
double
the-
sheep?
For twin sheep or for a sheep with a cold.
Okay.
Nevertheless, in 1896, the Board of Trade sanctioned construction of a lighthouse on the largest of the Flannan Isles, Eilean Mor. Eilean Mor is also home to some bothies, a Scottish term for a small hut that now sit in ruin, as well as the chapel of St. Flannan, the namesake for the islands. In December of 1899, the lighthouse was completed and lit for the first time. 4 lightkeepers were assigned to the lighthouse, each of whom would work a staggered rotation of 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. This meant there were always 3 men on the island tending the lighthouse at one time.
Good to have pals.
It's nice
Yeah.
to have company when you're stranded on an island.
Well, I guess if you don't have any fellas around, you got those sheeps anyway.
It's nice to not die alone, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, this is unsolved, so things aren't going to happen that are great.
In mid-December 1900, 1 year after the lighthouse was first put in service, the 3 men stationed on the island were James Ducat, the 43-year-old principal keeper with a wife, 4 children, and
Damn.
20 years
4
experience.
kids.
Donald MacArthur, the married 40-year-old occasional keeper who was covering for the first assistant keeper who was on sick leave, and Thomas Marshall, the youngest of the trio at 28 and the second assistant keeper. The 4th keeper, Joseph Moore, wasn't on the island as it was his 2 weeks off.
So youngest was 28 years old.
That's right.
How old are you right now? 29?
I'm 29, so let me put myself
Put yourself
into the
there.
mind. If you could choose your fate,
Would you?
would you?
Lighthouse.
Look,
Lighthouse. I love working at the lighthouse.
what is going on with your face?
Give me one impassioned one. I want to hear from you. Now that we've workshopped
I
it.
love working at the lighthouse.
I don't know, man. I love
working at the lighthouse.
working. This isn't offensive, I don't think. I apologize.
If you're Scottish and you're offended by this, you should be.
Around midnight on December 15th, the steamship Arctur passed near the Flannan Isles. Captain Holman noted that he could not see the light, though the conditions should have allowed him to. When the Arctur arrived in port, it reported the absence of the light, though this was never
that's not
communicated to
good.
the Northern Lighthouse Board.
Why didn't they tell them?
Pretty active board, I'm imagining there.
Are the lights on? Yep. Good.
Okay, check.
Still should have fucking told them.
That is
Another
alive.
day of hard work. Another day of hard work.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
On December 26th, the lighthouse tender ship Hesperus made a routine visit to Eilean Mor. When nearing the island, Captain James Harvey found it odd that there was no flag on the
Huh.
flagpole.
Well, maybe
The
it's too
Hesperus
windy.
sounded her horn to try to get the attention
Or it just could have been like the flag got really messed up, so then you needed to wait for a new flag.
of the 3 lighthouse keepers, but there was no response. They then attempted firing a flare. Again, no reply. Joseph Moore, the 4th lighthouse keeper, was on board the Hesperus. With no signal coming from the island, Moore was sent ashore. Upon arriving at the Alan Moore's East Landing, nothing appeared amiss. Everything was where it had been when Moore had last been on the island. Moore made his way up to the island where he found the entrance gate, the entrance door, and the door after that all closed. The kitchen door was found
Oh
open,
boy.
and the fireplace had not been
Oh,
lit
that's not
for
good.
several days. All of the clocks were stopped. According to Moore, quote, I
That's
then
like horror movie
entered the
shit.
rooms in succession, found the beds empty just as they left them in the early morning, end quote. With no sign of anyone, Moore realized something was seriously wrong
Yeah, no
and
shit's
returned to
been
the
wrong.
Hesperus to get more men to help him investigate. They found the lamp of the lighthouse to be in working order and fully prepped, but there was no clue as to what happened to the 3 missing men.
So Moore went ashore to knock on the door, is what you're saying.
You're right. I like that. I always find that when people are missing and nothing is out of place except the people,
Spooky.
very eerie. There's something about it.
Very eerie. I guess it would be scarier if it was like blood everywhere, but
I actually don't think so. I think that would be a bit much. It takes a little more
Yeah.
nuance to scare the Bergmeister, as all of you have seen on every episode of this show.
Moore and 3 others were left on the island to operate the lighthouse
I mean,
while
yeah,
the
that's a
Hesperus
necessity.
sailed back to telegraph the Northern Lighthouse Board of the disappearances. The next day, Moore and the others set about the island searching for more clues. While the East Boat landing, where Moore had arrived the previous day, was in perfect order, it was a different story at the West Boat landing. The West Boat landing was damaged, and a box
Ooh.
that had held tackle and mooring ropes was gone. The ropes were found strewn on the rocks, and the iron railings around
That's
the
not
area had been
good.
broken, with some completely missing. That damage, however, was already detailed in the keeper's log, implying it was not directly related to the disappearance. Most notably missing upon further investigation was a life buoy for emergencies,
Oh.
which had been kept among the railings approximately 110 feet above sea level. The ropes holding the buoy in place, however, had not been removed by man, implying that the sea had ripped the buoy from its spot.
Yeah, that could be what
some
happened.
bad buoy business.
Seems kind of lazy, no? It's 110 feet up in the air, and you're just like, yeah, it must have been the ocean that took that bad boy out.
I mean, if it was
110
like
feet up in the
it was
air?
like a serious wave.
I don't get that. What?
I
Huh?
guess you could have like a big Calabunga wave, but
I'm not buying that.
then what are you buying?
Oh.
What's on the shelf?
I don't know. Oh, it's some object work. Yeah, go for it. What is that?
It looks
a
like a-
Gatorade?
No, it looks like a can of alien juice.
Is that where this is fucking going? Is
Oh
that
my
where this is-
god.
It doesn't have anything else on it. It just says alien juice.
Oh.
While some may question whether a 110-foot wave is possible,
Yeah, it's possible.
historian Mike Dash
I think
found
so.
evidence from a lighthouse keeper in the 1950s that water has splashed on Alan Moore as high as 300 feet up, wetting the
Damn.
lamp house. In fact, while trying to photograph these waves, the lighthouse keeper was almost washed away
What?
himself by a large wave.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Getting up there
Scary.
and getting up there close and personal.
Scary to take a photo of a big wave.
The guy's gonna end up on kook slams.
Oh, he would end up on kook slams.
What is kook
Whoa,
slams?
it's slippery out here on these
1950s
rocks.
lighthouse keeper
Yeah.
gets dunked. Hashtag nutbuster.
Back at the lighthouse, by taking inventory of the clothes left behind, Moore was also able to determine exactly what his coworkers had been wearing when they disappeared. MacArthur, in particular, had left behind the only coat he was known to wear,
Oh.
implying he had disappeared into the cold of a December in coastal Scotland without a coat. They also discovered the logs from the keeper's final days.
It doesn't say whether or not they were in the toilet.
I think that's where it was
Damn.
headed. We had to let him go there. He's gone there.
Come on.
He's happy about it, and we can keep on moving.
Their final logs.
The last entry was from December 13th, but a slate had details from December 14th and 15th, including the time the light was extinguished on the morning of the 15th, as well as atmospheric readings as late as 9 a.m.
I didn't realize they were up to more than just flipping a switch.
Well,
So they're doing like readings and stuff?
They got to tend to the grounds too.
Yeah.
Keep.
Mow
I'm
the
sure
lawn.
that like when you mow the lawn, things like that,
Yeah.
make sure the fence has proper paint on it. If you're in a coastal area, the elements there could be harsh.
Yeah.
They probably are. yeah.
Erode away at the structure and your sanity.
Oh.
The salient point to take from all that is the fact that they weren't saying like, maybe my last log. I saw a big ass wave outside and it looks like it's coming towards me.
Sure.
Nothing like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, seemingly a normal couple days there.
The log noted morale had been low amongst the keepers. Peculiarly, it also made note of recent strong storms and winds, though
Oh.
there had been no
Oh, that's
reports
weird.
of storms in the area. So, either the turbulent weather had been extremely localized
Yeah, it could be
over
extremely
their islands,
localized.
or the men had hallucinated or fictionalized
maybe
the
both.
storms.
Have you ever
Maybe
been so
both.
jacked up that you imagined there was a thunderstorm outside your house?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
You didn't have too much of the devil's juice and you're like, oh, look at those clouds.
What if two of them are real mean and they're playing pranks on the third one?
They're
Yeah.
creating a thunderstorm?
One source reports the discovery of additional logs made by the 28-year-old Thomas Marshall. Within, the second assistant keeper detailed how the storms had been so frightening they had caused the men to pray, even though their location atop a 150-foot cliff in a building that was only a year old practically guaranteed their safety. Marshall
I mean, hey,
described
it's kinda
the
scary,
cat
though,
as being
still.
very quiet in recent days, and the Greff MacArthur had been seen crying. The final entry read, quote, "Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all." End quote. While some have poked significant holes in the authenticity of these logs, even if true, they still don't offer much explanation for what could have happened to three vanished men.
Sometimes things could make you sad. You know all about that, right? Master of emotions.
I cry all the time. I cried at Little Women a year ago.
The film, right?
No, I just saw some Little Women on the street and I sobbed.
Why are they so little? It's the way you said it. It really sounded like you were at Ralph's and you saw some like little women picking out fruit.
So the storm was not the thing that wiped them out, if these logs are true.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true because they could think the storm's over. I mean, how accurate do these guys? They're not Al Roker,
Yeah.
you know, and he never gets it wrong.
He never does.
He never does.
Great guy. Love Roker. Shout out to Roker.
Big Roke head over here.
I'm a huge Roke head.
You watch him on Roku?
No, I watch him on NBC.
With the island completely searched and turning up few clues, there was one man who might still be able to shed some insight on the keeper's final days.
That would
One
be.
Roderick Mackenzie.
Huh.
Because there was no radio contact with the lighthouse,
Why wasn't
the
there?
men on Aylen Moor were essentially stranded. If something happened and they required assistance, they needed a way to signal to someone who could get help. Lighthouse keepers would do so using poles with balls or discs attached to them and placed coming out of the lighthouse balcony, hoping someone would spot their message. 18 miles southeast of the island is Gallon Head, where gamekeeper Roderick Mackenzie was paid £8 a year to watch
That's
for
not enough
communications
money.
from the Flannan Isles. Each night, Mackenzie was to note whether he could see the light and whether any signals were seen during the day. When investigators checked in with Mackenzie after the disappearances, he reported that he had been unable to see the
What?
actual lighthouse tower between December 7th and December 29th. He had, however, been able to make out the light on December 12th, but not again until Moore lit it on the 26th. Mackenzie admitted the absence of the light for 2 weeks had concerned him, but there's no indication he reported this to anyone until the Northern Lighthouse Board came to question him.
What the
So it's
fuck?
essentially his duty to check on them to make sure they're okay. And He couldn't see the lighthouse for 2 weeks. And was
Even
like,
worse,
ah!
it was his job to see if something was weird and then report it, and he was like, that's weird. Let's get back to this sausage I'm cooking.
Well, wait it out. It's only been 1 week and 6 days. We'll see how this shakes out.
Inaction was not what Mackenzie was being paid those £8 a year for.
Yeah.
According
he
to
must
the
have been
National
fired.
Lighthouse Board, Mackenzie had agreed to report a failure, quote, immediately by telegram to head office in Edinburgh so that the necessary steps could be taken to have someone sent to carry out any repairs as soon as possible, end quote. Had an actual lighthouse keeper been appointed to that role, he likely would have reported the darkness much sooner.
Yeah.
It should be noted that Ducat, the principal keeper, had asked the Lighthouse Board's superintendent if an experiment of sorts could be done with the aim of seeing how long it would take someone to notice a signal from shore and respond appropriately. Alas, the experiment was not approved, but Ducat would ultimately get his answer. Way too long.
I guess it's a little too late for an I told you so,
I mean,
Yeah.
you can still say it. Just
but he did bloody well tell them so.
With 3 lighthouse keepers vanished into thin air, it's time to jump into theories about what happened that cold December on Aylen Moor. Our first theory is that the men were accidentally swept into the sea. Perhaps a wave caught the missing tackle box, scattering the contents about the rocks.
Yeah.
If 2 of the men went to try to retrieve the supplies and a wave swept one away, the other could have ran back to the house to get the third. It's possible that third man was MacArthur, who could have run out to help without grabbing his coat. Perhaps while trying to rescue their coworker, the others were hit by a renegade wave and likewise swept out to sea.
Where are the
As
bodies?
we've already discussed, enormous
But like, what happened to the bodies? Were they eaten by the sea life before they washed ashore?
waves have been
That
known
could
to
happen.
hit the island. So, even if the keepers thought they were far enough from the shore, they may have been caught off guard. There's also the possibility the men could have literally been blown from the island.
Oh yeah.
The nearby Butt of Lewis had been at one point considered by Guinness to be the windiest place in the UK.
What's funny about that is the butt of Shane is the windiest place in the U.S.
I was looking for a butt/fart joke.
did you have that one locked and loaded?
Oh yeah, I did, baby.
No bodies ever washed ashore, leaving room to question this theory. How could
Yeah, I mean, like, they could have been eaten by sea animals, like... Okay, so it could have been like orcas. Basking sharks are very unlikely. Large predatory fish. Like, if they drown, they can, like, go nom nom nom. I'm not sure if an orca could eat a person. I mean, I think they could eat them, but I don't... There aren't, like, reports of it. I mean, unless there was like sharks in the area that do eat larger animals that could have eaten
the
them.
3 experienced lighthouse keepers be caught so off guard, especially if one had already been swept to a rough sea? Why would the other 2 risk themselves?
To save their
No,
friend?
You know, and they're like, well, let's help them. You know?
All right, fuck, he's back in the
Throw a
ocean.
rope down there or something, and then, whoa, you know, whoa, we're all in the sea now.
I would think that they have some sort of protocol when one falls in and it doesn't immediately become and they
What
go
if
out
they
there
were
and
drunk?
start slipping around.
What if they're drunk?
I guess what if they were
Yeah.
drunk? Yes.
If they're hallucinating, even worse?
Look, it's possible. I just don't think it's very plausible.
Perhaps because of the romanticism of an isolated Scottish island, some theorize one or more of the keepers could have had a psychological breakdown, leading to their demise. As the
Like
logs
in the
described,
Lighthouse movie with-
morale was low amongst the keepers, and there was the
Like in the Lighthouse movie with Robert Pattinson and whoever the fuck played the Green Goblin in the Tobey Maguire movies.
possibility they were hallucinating storms. Perhaps a fight broke out with one keeper killing the others, tossing their bodies into the surf, then leaping into the ocean himself. MacArthur in particular was known for his rough nature and violent tendencies. There's also speculation that a romantic relationship could have sprouted between the men, then soured.
Oh,
Or that
drama.
one went mad, running off the cliff while the other slipped chasing after him. Because there were no indications of violence found on the island, however, this theory is based mostly in speculation.
Lighthouse, more like Fight House.
Needs work. It's perfectly plausible that one of them may have lost it out there on this island,
Yeah.
but there wasn't any indications of violence, and I would assume
It could have been a folie à trois. And, like, they all could have, like, willingly gone into the ocean.
being, you know, 3 grown men, you would see some signs of a tussle.
Yeah, that place would be marked up, you know?
Yeah,
There's some
probably.
scuffs.
Like, no one's gonna go out there like, all right, take me into the ocean, I guess. Here you go. I'll wrap myself up so I can't escape.
There was no way for them to get off of there on their own. They
Like
couldn't have just bailed.
Like if all 3 of them walked into the ocean?
Well, 'cause
Yeah,
you said
from
2 of them
shared
could have been in
psychosis.
love, and I'm thinking, well, what if all 3, they were like, this works. What we got
triangle?
going here, this works, the
Yeah.
3 of us. We're in love. We're 3 men who love each other.
A tripod.
A tripod. Let's get out of
And
here.
then one day, one of them says, I think this should be a bipod instead.
Oh, no, I'm saying the
Oh.
3 of them lived happily ever after and just, moved to Jamaica or something.
Oh, I see.
Our third theory is, of course, that the men were abducted by aliens.
No.
Here we go.
That's it.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. There's more.
That's it.
What? Say the rest.
Theory 4, our final theory is that
What? That's it.
a little throwback there for you.
You're just having fun with it.
I mean, look,
This isn't a serious theory.
110 feet up in the air, got knocked off by something that wasn't man, and there was no signs of a major wave hitting the lighthouse. No signs of a scuffle. They all left. The logs were pristine. Who's to say they didn't see some kind of big-ass light outside, and they were like, hey, what's that?
Because they'd be like, hey, nice light.
They're lighthouse keepers.
Yeah.
They love light.
Oh, have you seen our light? What light you got there?
Oh, nice big light.
Yeah, that's
I
a
love
hell
our
of a
light.
light.
Our light's the best.
This light kicks ass.
Oh, there's another light.
Why
That
am I
light's much
300
bigger than my
feet
light.
off the ground?
Holy
This is a
shit.
hell of a light.
Let's get closer to the... It's possible.
Our final
It's
theory
not.
is that some other supernatural occurrence happened to the 3 Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers. There are legends of water sprites in Scotland, particularly the Blue Men of the Minch,
Okay, this is actually make me want to do a Lighthouse Let's Play on into Sims 4.
or storm kelpies in the Outer Hebrides, where the Flannan Isles are located.
I suspect everyone watching this is eagerly waiting for me to really dunk on this, but I gotta say I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me more about these men.
These strong green-haired creatures are thought to live in caves and sink ships in order to drown sailors. According to legend, if the lighthouse keepers encountered a clan of these sprites, their only hope for survival would be to have the last word in a rhyming duel.
Do you not love the idea that the only way, and I repeat, the only way you could survive a sprite is if you beat them in a rap battle?
Ha.
It says the last word in a rhyming duel.
A rhyming duel. Okay, so here we go, Ryan. Well, I'm a sprite. And
That's your impression of a sprite, just you saying I'm a sprite?
well, I'm a sprite and I've come to your island, and if you want to live, you're gonna have to beat me.
You didn't even rhyme the first 2 sentences. You said you do it in a rhymey way.
Oh, I thought you had to rhyme with what I say.
You didn't say like, I'm a sprite, let's
And I'm
test
here
your
to s-
might.
Oh.
And I'm here on this dark, dark night. Oh, are you in for a fright?
No, I'm
You
not.
better keep it tight.
I'm real tough. And I'll
sure
tell
like your
you,
light.
I've had enough. I sure do like my big, tall light. And I don't like you, sir.
You
Try
give-
as I might.
Looks like you gent are heading for the falls. If not, you could suck my blue balls.
All right. I know what I'm beat. Woo!
There's also a local legend surrounding Moore's arrival on the island. Allegedly, when he entered the lighthouse building, 3 giant black birds perched atop the lighthouse flew off into the sky. People claimed those birds were the 3 keepers, who were transformed into the avian form as a punishment for violating the supernatural power of the island.
My brain is just, I'm picturing the Animorphs cover of a lighthouse keeper turning into like a crow.
Could you imagine just like them perched atop the lighthouse and they see all these people trying to look for them and they're trying and they're cawing and cawing. It's us, please! I'm the bird, it's me, Mac.
They've got little slickers on.
Yeah, there's the coat, it's on the bird. It got
little-
shrunk with them.
A little corncob pipe.
Tragic, it's tragic.
It's fun to imagine, and a load of horse shit.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you've entered the Twilight Zone.
No, this is unsolved. This is-
Shit, you're right.
Keepers tended the lighthouse on Aylen Moor until 1971, when it was fully automated.
Probably best for everyone.
those 70 years, the sudden and eerie disappearance of 3 men charged with manning the island must have hung heavily over the heads of lighthouse keepers in the Flannan Isles, and keepers reported hearing the men's names whispered by someone in the wind. As for what extinguished the lights of James Ducat, Donald MacArthur, and Thomas Marshall 120 years ago, that mystery remains unsolved.
Well, I gotta say, I love it.
That dipshit look on your face.
You gotta really, you gotta really
Yeah, you did like the wave. You did like a body roll.
I loved this story.
I like it. Yeah, that's
That's good,
good.
right?
You've improved over the course of the episode. A real 3-act structure. It's good.
Fun.
Fun, and a good cameo for aliens in
Yeah.
this one.
And I gotta say, as I've been stuck in my apartment for the majority of this year, nice to go on a little trip with our minds.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. And that's a good lesson to you anywhere. You may be locked up inside, but you're never going to be locked up inside up here.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to be locked up inside of there. Let me tell you, that is a nightmare
No,
palace.
it's not good. When are you going to realize, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Jesus Christ. You're
Rorschach.
just quoting a movie, but you got way too intense on that.
What
That was
happened?
very scary. We'll see you next week, everybody. Do we usually do that at the end of a show? We're outside now. Where do we go?
So here's what I think happened. I think that the lighthouse keepers experienced folie à trois, which is like shared psychosis amongst like 3 people, and because of the psychosis, whatever the psychosis was making them do, they went to the ocean. That's what I think happened, and then they might have been eaten by fish, become fish food, maybe shark food. Do tiger sharks go to Scotland? Okay, they aren't there. Would sharks live near Scotland? Okay, it could have been like any of these sharks. Basking, blue, shortfin mako, Portuguese dogfish, Greenland shark. I think they've eaten polar bears. Pork beetle, common thresher, leaf scale gulper, spiny dogfish, frill shark, blunt nose, 6-gill, black dogfish, sharp nose 7-gill, taupe, and smooth hound. So yeah, I think it could have just been like a combination of shared psychosis and animal predation. I will see you guys in the next one.